Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Jill and welcome back to the prescription kitchen here. And today I'm going to be finishing off that smoky turkey chili we made last week with some memorable black and blueberry blast brownies. So to recap, this series is actually about aging. So far we've talked about the amino acid serine, we've talked about vitamin C, we've also talked about vitamin E and selenium, vitamin B1, and also coenzyme Q10 and beta carotene. So I'm saving the best for last. One I really like is resveratrol, if you haven't guessed by now. And resveratrol is an antioxidant found in dark chocolate and dark berries, and also purple grapes and peanuts, by the way. So resveratrol stimulates growth and development of the neurons in the hippocampus, which is the memory portion of the brain. And they've done a study using bees, and they've shown that bees live longer when they're given resveratrol. So far, the human studies are limited, but so far there is promise. We also know that it helps with perhaps delaying cognitive impairment in elderly Alzheimer patients. So that is promising. First, I made the blackberry compote, which is very easy. And what I did was I took a cup of fresh berries. You could also use frozen. I put it in a little saucepan on medium-high heat, and I added 1/8 cup of white sugar as well as 1/8 cup of water, and also a teaspoon of lemon juice and a pinch of salt. So you stir that up and you let it thicken, and then you get your potato masher out and mash the berries up, and you let that cook, turn it down to low and let it cook for about 5 minutes. And you'll see that it's going to start to thicken up a little bit. You can let it cool down, and then I want you to go ahead and, if you're not a big fan of seeds, strain it through one of those fine mesh strainers or cheesecloth. And then what I did was I added a little bit back of the seeds at the end just to give it more body. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but I like to do that just for presentation. And next we're going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350. So you're going to spray this baking dish, an 8x8 baking dish, with some olive oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 bowls. In one bowl, we're going to add 1 cup of applesauce, and this is going to be in place of oil or fat or eggs. I like to use these little pre-measured cups. I'm using strawberry applesauce, but feel free to use regular. This is just what I had on hand. So each of these is 4 ounces, so you're going to do 2 of these 4-ounce little cups, or again, just 1 cup of applesauce. Okay. And after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar and 1/2 cup of white sugar, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. I don't measure that. I don't think you can ever use too much vanilla in baking, in my opinion, so feel free to use a measuring spoon or not. Okay, then what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and put some dry ingredients together. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour and then a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. Okay, and that's going to go in bowl 2. Then we're going to add a 1/3 cup of dry cocoa powder. I like to use Hershey's just because I grew up near Hershey. And then we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let me make sure we get all of that. And then we're going to combine the 2 bowls together. We're going to stir that up, and then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of dark chocolate chips or chunks. You can use, you want them to have about 60% cacao in them, and that again is going to have the resveratrol in it, which is a very powerful antioxidant, as I mentioned. And then we're going to add a 1/3 cup of chopped pecans or walnuts. Feel free to use the walnuts if you'd like for those omega-3s, or the pecans, a little less calories, I believe, in the pecans. And then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of blueberries. Now you can do fresh or frozen. I usually do frozen, and I don't wait for them to thaw very much. I just throw them in there and they cook fine. Okay. Finally, we're going to go ahead and place this in the 8x8 baking dish. And I'm going to use this spatula here to get all of that residual mix batter out of the bowl. It's amazing to me how much can be left behind sometimes. Oh, these are going to be really good. and they don't have a lot of fat at all in them. Okay, so we're going to spread that out in a nice layer. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and pour my blackberry compote on top. And you can see that pretty color there, very vibrant. And again, that dark color contains that resveratrol antioxidant. You can just let that stay on top. You can swirl it in just a little bit. I tend to just let it sit on top, but it's a very beautiful color. You can see that dark purple. And then we're gonna throw this in the oven at 350 for about 27 or 28 minutes. All right, and while those are baking, I'm going to be showing you next the body and facial scrub using 4 ingredients. These recipes are meant to keep you glowing from the inside out. And there are also studies that show that people that eat more antioxidants tend to have less wrinkles as well. So that's good news. In my little coffee grinder, I put 1 tablespoon of quick cooking oats, and then I put in 1 tablespoon of powdered goat's milk. Now, I want you to use powdered goat's milk, but if you can't find that in the store, you can use the powdered non-fat milk, although you won't get the benefit from the fat that's in the goat's milk that helps keep the skin moisturized. I do know that it's difficult to find sometimes though. So we're gonna put both of those ingredients into my little ramekin here. And then we're gonna go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of honey and 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Try to find raw honey if you can, that has all of those nutrients in there. One thing I also wanted to mention about honey is that it's also good for burns. So you can apply honey on your burns, and because of all of the nutrients in the honey, it'll help them heal faster. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of olive oil. And that's what it's supposed to look like right there. And this can stay in the refrigerator for up to a week. Now, when you're ready to use this, what you're gonna do is wet down your skin really well. You can use this on the face or anywhere else on your body that's dry and that needs moisturized. And then you're gonna go ahead and put some water on the skin that you want to put the scrub on. I'm just gonna show you on my arm here. So I'm putting some water on there, and you can see how that reconstitutes the milk powder in there and actually makes it a little bit foamy, which is perfect. And then what you're gonna do is let that sit on your skin for about 5 minutes and then rinse it off. And again, this will stay good in the refrigerator covered with some saran wrap for about a week. Wow, they smell great. So here they are at the end. You can see that compote on there, how it turns into kind of a thicker, kind of saucy glaze on top. I'm gonna let these cool before I cut them, and I'm gonna cut them into 16 squares. Each square is gonna have about 120 calories. So again, not too much when you're talking about brownies. So that's it for the Eating from the Fountain of Youth Part 2 series. Join me next week for Part 1 of my Heart Healthy Mediterranean Diet series, where I'm gonna be talking about foods that are gonna help to lower cholesterol, lower your blood sugar, and also lower your blood pressure, using some awesome ingredients and talking about those nutrients along the way. So I just wanted to show you how wonderful these brownies turned out. And let me give you a close-up here.